everybody. Hope you didn't go too far. Hope you didn't forget what we were talking about. You're listening to Deen Talk. Here with my guests Hamza, Amani, Fatima, and Harun. And we left the last segment talking about, kind of whose fault do we think it is. But we only mentioned students, we mentioned parents, and we mentioned even the Trump effect and some of the words and the rhetoric that he's saying. But I left out a group, and that was the teachers. And so I want to talk about the teachers now because there's a lot of stuff that is happening in the schools, like anti-bullying, like workshops and things like that schools are doing. Do you guys think that stuff has worked? Because now you're getting, an opportunity where you can test it, right, on the bus, in the classroom. So the things that you guys have been learning in school from your teachers and all this anti-bullying stuff, is it useful? Do you find that youth and children are able to do this? Why don't we start with you, Fatima? What do you think?
My school didn't have any talks where the teachers came in and said, you guys need to be careful about what you say and try not to hurt any feelings.
Nada? Nothing?
No, I think one time my history teacher asked us, and nobody wanted to say anything. They said, I don't want to hurt any feelings. I'm not going to say anything. And I do know that my school happens to have a huge amount of Trump supporters, but just like Amani said, I don't think it's because they believe that women are inferior to men. I don't think that they believe that all immigrants need to be deported immediately. A lot of the Trump supporters that I know just happen to be Trump supporters because they really don't like Hillary history.
What about you, Hamza? Do you feel like, because she said her school really didn't do much.
So I know as a fact that Loudoun County as a whole, they sent an email to all the kids and the parents that you guys are safe and that you can't get deported and that you guys
feel
are
safe because of that email?
So, I mean, they're kids that have different mindsets. So some don't listen. Some find this.
No. Children? Okay. I thought all children.
And some make them want to do it more. So I think it depends on the type of person you are and if that really resonates with you or not.
Harun, what you think?
Well, I think my school didn't really emphasize anything about the election being you need to not be offensive to anyone. But I had teachers that kind of brought it up, but they're being very general about the topic, not to give their side. But I had this one teacher that told us that she was supporting Trump and was talking about it and and from her standpoint, she just didn't vote for. She did vote for Trump because she's oh well, I can't vote for Hillary because I just can't understand why she would do that stuff with that.
Now, Amani, on that, I want you to respond to that because he said, his teacher said something specifically, but a lot of teachers got it's called a gag order, you cannot talk about this at all in the class. Did you see any of that in your school where teachers told, look, we're not going to talk about the election, just teach class as usual. If any students ask, send them to this person, or was it open and teachers were talking about it?
So on the day after the election, I was actually on an internship, so I wasn't at school. Yet, during the school day, they had a huge school meeting with our head of school, and she was talking about the outcome of the election and talking how she supported Hillary. Yet they never really had anyone that went up that were talking about Trump, which I feel, especially in the standpoint of my school, would have a very negative impact. Yet, I don't know, nobody really emphasized who they voted for necessarily, but my school had an email sent out telling girls telling all the girls that for 3 days they're not allowed to post anything on social media about the election.
Really?
And it did not resonate with a lot of girls very well.
Yeah, because it sounds like kind of very intrusive onto your own rights and
what
you can do.
Yeah.
And you said, Fatima, you said something. What was it that you said? Well, I just feel like I don't see, the question that I asked you guys before was is this working? Are the coaching to teach? Oh, that's what it was. The coaching to teach students what to do. And you say your students said we don't feel comfortable even talking about it. Maybe we're going to hurt somebody's feelings. And if that's how people are still talking, we don't even know how to communicate because we're afraid that I'm going to offend you. I want to call you something, but it's going to cause a fight. Do you guys feel like you're learning how to talk to each other in schools, how to talk to immigrants and black people and white people and people that you would call basketball players or people that into math? Do students know how to interact, or you stick with your own crowd still?
For I think the only class that I've ever had any political discussion ever would be in my economy class, and that's because my teacher is very
Economy.
Yeah, he's very,
Okay.
very outspoken. In fact, he is a Trump supporter, but he also is the same man who got us a prayer room at my school.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important for us not to generalize everyone, and remember that if we don't want to be generalized by them, then we shouldn't be generalizing all Trump supporters.
So how do I'm gonna come back to you,
Okay.
but what do you think? Like, do you feel like the schools are teaching students how to communicate with each other, even though they have so many differences that are religious differences and ethnic differences, or you aren't getting that skill in school?
Well, I don't think they teach that, but just being in a type of environment where in school where people are like, you need to, when they do like stuff in classes where you have to like partner up and stuff, and you have to like work with people that you don't know, sometimes that helps. But personally, if you're a certain way, certain classes will help you be like more like social and stuff.
Hamza, do we have any teachable moments here? Like, since we're talking about teachers, is there anything that like we can learn from out of all of this? Even your incident on the school bus, like, what would you tell? Let's fast forward, I don't know, 15 years, 5 years, when you're married and you have children and things like that, and you're telling your son or your daughter about what happened to you when you were, freshman in high school. And if this ever happens to you, what's a teach? Anything that we can learn from it all?
So I think what's really important is to always stay calm and trust in Allah, honestly, because He puts you in these situations to test you. And that's what we have to do. We have to stay calm and remember the Sunnah, remember the Quran. And
Is that what you were doing in that moment?
I
When the guy's
tried,
yelling
yeah.
at your face like, what? Your Quran is corrupting. You're just like, how did you do that? That's not easy.
We
Is it
always
from the martial
try.
arts training? Is it from your parents? What?
I honestly don't know, but I tried to stay as calm as possible.
What do you think
Yeah.
about that, Amani?
I honestly, I'm really proud of you, and it's very interesting, especially how you handled it. I know some people who, non-Muslims, who were ever put in a situation, like I've told them stories about people. Alhamdulillah, I haven't been bullied about my faith at school. I'm one of the only 2 girls who wear hijab there, and
Out of how many students? Would you
out of 350.
350 is 2 hijabi.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm someone who really, really just voices my religion and talk a lot about it, so people know that it's okay to talk to me. Because I feel like there's some people who feel like, oh, I can't ask her, she's gonna feel offended. But I'll make jokes, I'll say stuff like, this is what happened at my mosque like the other day and all this stuff. And 3 of my friends are like, your mosque sounds like so much fun. Can I come and just like hang out? I was like, yeah, sure. So I invited them over and they walked around. They had so much fun.
Yeah.
And basically just letting people know that religion is not really it is sensitive for some people, but we have to remember that if there are people who have hatred against Muslims, the key is to always explain and to vocalize your religion and show that we are not harmful and show the good side of Muslims. Otherwise, people will still either feel restricted, we can't talk about this with this person, or they're not good people. And so if you don't vocalize it, and
Yeah.
alhamdulillah, you did a really good job
He did.
at
He
doing
did
that.
a really good job. I'm sure the audience is like doing a little golf clap out there. But Fatima, before I cut you off, we were talking about something similar to that, like the roadmap towards people understanding. And it sounds like what I see as a core issue here is that people still are afraid to talk to the other. So she's saying all the work that she had to do to make it comfortable for somebody else to talk to her, because students aren't comfortable in coming and asking you about a headscarf or asking you about your religious book or something. So you were speaking on that, but I wanted to know if you could kind of chime in on what Amani is saying about how much work do you think you have to do to get people to talk to you, and do you think there is a communication problem in schools or with your age group about just going up and asking somebody, why do you dress that way, or without them being offended? Do you have those skills in school?
I don't think people learn that skill from school. I know that before the election, people would ask me like, why do I wear a scarf? Or they'd ask me like, are you forced to wear it? Why do you not eat pork? And I would
And
just answer them.
these are schoolmates asking you this.
Schoolmates, teachers, even
Okay.
the office staff has asked me.
Really?
But after the election, I didn't get any questions. Nobody asked me how I felt. But it might have been because the people that I surround myself with are very I'm friends with a lot of Jewish people, atheist people, LGBTQ people. They were really helping me cope with it, and I think because they were so generous in providing support, like nobody wanted to approach me and ask me because they were fearful that someone would come harass me. So I think when they surrounded me with all this support, nobody wanted to come and.
They're surrounding you with support. They're surrounding you with love. When we come back, we're going to talk about that, the solidarity that's happening with all of this right here on Deen Talk. But in the break, I want you to watch out some of this footage that we got at one of the schools from our Deen TV crew. Check it out.